Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Taylor Combluse, a mining analyst at Red Cloud Securities Inc. Today's webinar features Pilar Gold, which is a Brazilian-focused gold producer with aspirations to aggressively grow its annual production. The company also completed the acquisition of the Laiva Gold Mine in northern Finland in November 2022, which features a 6,000 ton per day processing facility. For 2023, the company aims to produce 50,000 ounces at an estimated AISC of $1,400 per ounce. In the long term, the goal is to reach 100,000 ounces of annual production there. Today, I have with me on the webinar Jeremy Gray, who's the Chief Executive Officer at Pilar Gold. The format of today's webinar will be comprised of two parts. In the first part, Jeremy will provide an introduction to Pilar and give an update on the latest activities at the company. In the second part, we'll take your questions live. So please send us your questions using the chat function and we'll get to as many as we can. I'll note you can type in your questions at any point throughout the webinar. To start, we'll handle the disclosures and then get into the presentation. So for Pilar Gold, there may be some forward-looking statements made on this call. I would direct listeners to the cautionary note on page 2 of the corporate presentation located on the company's website. For Red Cloud Securities Inc., I would highlight that this webinar is for information purposes only and should not be considered a solicitation to purchase or sell securities or a recommendation to buy or sell securities. We note that this call does not take into account the particular situation or needs of individual investors. Participants should rely on their own investigations and seek their own professional advice before investment. Please see our most recent research located on our website for Pilar-specific disclosures. So with that out of the way, I'll turn it over to Jeremy to update you on Pilar Gold and what you have to look forward to with the company.
Great, Taylor. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, all good.
Just want to thank you first for giving us the opportunity in Red Cloud. You guys have been amazing supporters for us over the last 12 months. Pilar Gold, just for guys who are new to the story, we are private. We've been on the journey for 3 years now. We hope to produce 110 to 120,000 ounces this year at an all-in sustaining cost of around $1,350, and next year 150,000 ounces. But we are very much in the mood to make more acquisitions. We believe we've made 3 acquisitions now, and we're looking for a 4th. We'd like to get to 300,000 ounces and hope to list middle of this year on the TSXV. That's our intention. We have 412 amazing investors who've supported us over this last 3 years, and we just want to bulk up and use this opportunity really to add more capacity. And really our business model is to buy big secondhand gold mines. That's what we like to do. Mines that come with fantastic a team, production ready to go. And we think that the window to make those acquisitions is still there, but if the market does improve later in 23, that window might close. So we're very focused on M&A. And maybe, Ed, I'll just get you to go through a couple of slides. Where we are in Brazil, we have two businesses in the state of Goiás. The first one is the home of Sertão. Sertão, we believe, will be the highest grading gold mine in the industry later this year. And the second business we bought from Ross Beatty and Greg Smith from Equinox 2 years ago was the Pilar Mine. That's currently producing around 45,000 ounces. Sertão, when it's fully operational, will do another 45,000 ounces. Also in Finland, as Gracie and Taylor said, we just completed the acquisition of the Laiva Gold Mine. We're super excited about Laiva. And I'll just keep going on with the slides to show you what we're up to. So the idea really is a couple of, the first is to bring on the Sertão mine in Brazil. This was the highest grading gold mine in the world between 03 and 06. We're expecting it to deliver 15 to 20 gram feed to our Pilar mill, which is a mill we acquired from Equinox. It's 4,500 tons a day. And we'll probably start off delivering 200 to 300 tons of this super high grade to blend production and bring that overall ounces in the Brazil business from 45 to 90,000 ounces. The Laiva Gold Mine in Finland, we've been following that story for a couple of years now. We've worked on that transaction for 9 months this last year, and we're super happy when we were chosen as the successful acquirer of the business. And what we love about Laiva is it's big, it's very modern mill, very young open pits. and we've acquired the business creditor-free and debt-free. So that's a very key part of the ramp-up, and we're planning to reopen that mine in May. Keep going, Ed. So there's a profile of what we think we're going to deliver this year, 110,000 ounces, and then 150,000 ounces next year from those two businesses. And I think watch this space. I'd like next year to be a 300,000 number, but I can't say too much just yet. So keep going, Ed. That's, we do have a lot of gold. Now, we are in the middle of an 8 million fundraising to basically restart the Laiva Gold Mine in May. We want to take advantage of the spring and the summer months up in Finland. So at the moment, the team are sort of abuzz with excitement about the restart. And you can see the breakdown. The 8 million to restart a mine of this size is very small, so the payback is very fast. And we should hopefully do first shipments to Switzerland, to MKS Pant, hopefully in June to start with, and use that beautiful summer months to really understand the mine, the two open pits, and to try and get that to initial 50,000 ounces this year. And longer term, we believe Laiva has the potential to be a 100,000 ounce producer. Keep going, Ed. Just I'll show you a couple. This is the team. I won't go through it right now, but we've been together now for the last 3 years privately. It hasn't been easy by any stretch. And being private means you don't have access to obviously big funding all the time, but we've just had this tremendous support from our really loyal and supportive shareholder base. Keep going, mate. I won't go through the management right here, but we have 1,100 staff in Brazil. All in, actually, it's 862, including contractors. And in Finland, when we restart, we'll have about 167. So just about 1,000 staff in total in the Pilar business. Equinox and Pandion are our two largest shareholders. Pandion sold the Laiva asset to us 2 months ago, and they have about a 13.5% stake, and Equinox are about 5%. Crescat, Quinton, and Kevin and Tavi have been great. But we are basically 409 mum and dad supportive, highly supportive investors who've let us grow the business this last 3 years. So we don't actually have a big institutional following at all, but we think hopefully as we go to 300,000 ounces, that we will get a bigger following. The cap structure right now, after this raise, once we've completed it, we've got about 250 million shares out, effectively valuing the company at 250 million Canadian. So if we do 110 to 120,000 ounces this year, I feel that's a pretty fair valuation right now at $1. And the raise that we're doing includes a full warrant at $1.50. So you get that extra leverage to the upside. And obviously, if we do get to 300,000 ounces next year and keep a very tight structure, then I think we're a $3 to $4 stock all day long. But here's Laiva. It's really, we first visited Laiva 2.5 years ago in the summer. Super impressed by the potential. 400 million euros of replacement cost to build that today. I think the original operators spent 250. It was 11 years ago. And the beauty of Laiva is the mill's enclosed in a 10-story giant tin shed. So it's in impeccable mint condition. The mill's ready to turn on now. We're going to do a small reline, 300,000 euros on one of the ball mills. But apart from that, it's just an exceptional asset. The trucks are parked up, the diggers are parked up. We're talking with the contractors right now and the suppliers. There's an air of excitement that we will be starting again in May. So we basically bought this business for cents in the dollar. It was US $23.5 million of Pilar shares, which was 30 million Pilar shares at $1 and 10 million warrants. To replace that business today would be 400 million. So we feel that's a highly accretive transaction for our shareholders. And that's the kind of structure we're looking for when we do make acquisitions, to keep the share count down and very tight, but to obviously bring in a big asset that's already built, that's ready to go. There's a picture there. You probably can't see it so well, but it's a very big complex. In fact, Laiva is the biggest gold mill in Europe at 6,000 tons a day at a 1 gram feed. Maybe I just keep going and we'll just show a bit more of what we actually did acquire. Look, I won't go into all this detail, but there's amazing infrastructure. We have 2 very young open pits. It came with 169 million euros of tax losses. It comes, the staff are 17 staff currently we have maintained, and about 150 are ready to come back. And they're ringing every day as to when are you starting, and we say, look, it's getting close. We just got to complete the funding, and we're really excited to get that done. So I won't go through all those, but look, the pits are fully dewatered. The mine plan is complete. It's been drilled significantly already, so we understand the ore body. Keep going, Ed, and we'll just show a couple more slides there. There's some more drilling that they did. And when you've had, and the other great thing about Laiva is it comes with 3 million tons of mined low-grade stockpile that sits right next to the mill. And we utilized low-grade stockpile at our Pilar business in Brazil. So generally, it's probably 3 scoops of mine material each day and 1 scoop of low-grade when we feed into the mill. Just go back there, mate. But that's 3 million tons that we think is half a gram. Now, that's a really nice tummy filler for the 6,000 ton a day mill. It's almost free processing cost. And the mine feed will be about 1 gram. So we'll probably end up at about a 0.8 gram feed initially, and then just with 6,000 tons a day. So you can work the numbers out quite quickly. This can be doing at least 150 to 160 ounces a day. We believe at Laiva we have at least a 10-year mine life initially to start with. And I think really importantly that the mine's built, it's creditor-free, it's debt-free, the team is ready to go, a very experienced team on the ground, so there's no relearning the process. And I think what we're really doing is bringing our expertise from Brazil just to refine the mill process a little bit and some of the open pit mining. So I think Laiva is going to be a phenomenal success, and we literally bought this for cents in the dollar. So we're just super thrilled about this acquisition. Okay, I won't go through those, Ed. I'll just keep going maybe onto Brazil now. But you know, Brazil is something which we expect to continue to grow in Brazil. We're looking for more acquisitions in Brazil. We love the environment there. We have a phenomenal team that understands the way around the process with both permitting and with all parts and facets of the business. So this is the business we bought from Equinox 2 years ago. We paid $38 million for that. It was an old Yamana mine that they spent $250 million building. It comes with 3 underground mines, the Pilar mine, the Maria Lazara mine, and the Kaima mine. At the moment, we're just operating Pilar and Maria Lazara. Kaima's on care and maintenance. We have the Tres Barracas open pit that sits right next door to the mill. Alessio is a beautiful long a wonder child is the way we think of Sertão, and just said maybe go to Sertão just to give the guys an idea. This is a hub and spoke just to show you what we're doing. We're planning to bring Sertão 180 kilometers to the mill, and it's super high grade. It was in operation. It finished operations in 2006. So that's the idea, is a hub and spoke strategy at the Pilar business. Keep going, mate. I'll just show some of this. Is the old open pit of Sertão. Now, Sertão pulled out 260,000 ounces over 3 years at an open pit grade of 29 grams. So it was really a phenomenal story for the then Troy Resources. They were planning to go underground exactly where those gentlemen are standing in the open pit there on the left-hand side. And for whatever reason, they didn't continue with their plans, and they moved to northern Brazil, and they never came back to what was just a phenomenal success story for them. Now, keep going, mate. We've been drilling there for 18 months. This was an old headline story that shows, I think their first quarter, they averaged 45 grams open pit. So this is a seriously high-grade mine, and we believe it runs a very long way, and it will be mining for the next, 30, 40 years. Keep going, mate. So this is the hub and spoke. So this is where we'll be driving up the main paved highway. It's in great condition. And we're hoping we initially thought would start in March, but we did permitting applications and they were submitted before Christmas. And we expect to be starting up in July ahead of our investor site visit in August. So we're really excited about Sertão. It's a game changer for us when you're delivering 15 to 20 gram feed, because at the moment the Pilar complex has an average grade of only 1 gram. So you can imagine the impact that it has. Now, what's amazing about Sertão, and I've learnt this, it's taken a long time for me to understand it, but effectively there's basically half to 1 meter of 50 to 500 grams a ton. And it's highly continuous and super fine, and there's almost no nugget effect, if any. There's no nugget effect. So I know you get these amazing drill holes of 10 meters at 500. We will never get that. But a lot of that is nugget effect. A lot of that is you move to just a meter to the left or the right, and you won't get that kind of grade because you don't hit the nuggets. Whereas Sertão is super fine. So the potential, keep going, mate. I just want to show the scale of what we believe Sertão is. So you probably can't really see those green circles, yellow and blue, but that was the old open pit that's still there. It was actually most of the pit was filled in with 1 gram tailings. So there's a whole bunch of tailings there and low-grade stockpile that's been filled in that we will reprocess. But about 1.3 kilometers over that hill is SRT01, where Yamana hit 2 meters at 19 grams. Now, we've picked up all of the ground for 5 kilometers. And I'd never forget the phone call when Paolo rang us 2 years ago when the auction came up on A&M, and Paolo said, guys, we really need to bid for this. How much should we pay? And at the time, we were really broke, I must be honest. And so we only put in a bid for 330,000 reals, which is like, 60,000 Canadian, 70,000 Canadian. And to my absolute amazement, nobody else bid for that extension of Sertão. They were all very busy chasing the next Fosterville, the next, super high grade story that's in Canada. No one bid for this, and we think this is going to be the highest grading gold mine when it really hits its straps. You can see the drilling we've done, and we've done it with literally only 1 rig. If we were really at our game, and if we could really promote like the great promoters do, we'd probably have 5 or 6 rigs on this because it's such a world-class ore body. And Troy Resources, when they pulled out that open pit, they literally just scraped the surface. So we think they left at least 95% of the gold, and we believe this system has multiple parallel lodes. We've stopped drilling for the rainy season, and our only focus at the moment is to basically restart mining, as I said, in June, July, with first deliveries at late July into our Pilar mill up the road. So the potential there, you can see these holes here, but each one of those can give you an idea. The grades are phenomenal. Paolo and the team have done just a brilliant job understanding the ore body there. And when you mine this sort of grade, it tends to recover exceptionally well in the mill. And I think the recoveries when Troy had it were like 96%. So it's going to be a great addition to the Pilar business. There was that hole. That hole we hit by accident only a few months ago. 1 meter at 236, directly under 30 meters under the old pit. We don't know what that is, but with more time, I think you're going to see a lot more of those. The best ever hole drilled was by Western Mining, 6.1 meters at 523 from surface. And that hole was only drilled 200 meters from where we're working on now. So I expect this year we'll hit something like that. And hopefully we'll have 2 rigs running, depending on financing. So yeah, Sertão is going to be just something special for us. And the business we bought from Equinox is big. It's 4 or 5 million ounces, but it's low grade. So the Pilar Mine delivers us 3,000 tons a day underground at 1 gram. And I take my hat off to the team. I think we must be one of the few mines in the world that can make good money at 1 gram a ton. So you can imagine the team getting into Sertão at 15 to 20 grams in the middle of this year. So 200 tons a day at Sertão is nothing for our team. And I wouldn't be surprised if they really get their mojo going, we could easily pull out 100,000 ounces at Sertão in 1 year. So that's the Pilar Mine. We've got the Maria Lazara Mine. That's averaging about 1.4. So again, low grade. We've got Tres Barracas, which is an open pit. We haven't built that yet, but it's, we think there's probably 500,000 ounces sitting in the open pit right next to the Pilar Mill. The Kiama Mine, look, it's a small 14,000 ounce mine. It's been dewatered right now, but again, we're very blessed with significant infrastructure in the Brazilian business. We also have the Cascavel mine that's on care and maintenance, super high grade, but that's a more nuggety mine. So, you can go down there and pick just the most incredible nuggets out of the side of the walls, but that has been a disappointment in terms of the recovered grade. So we much prefer Sertão, which is just 20 miles down the road from Cascavel, where you don't get the flashy nuggets, but you get much higher grades. Keep going, Ed, and this was just a hole that it was drilled by accident at Cascavel, 17 meters at 1263 silver. We're not sure what that is, and we're not explorers. We're producers. So one day we might do a follow-up program there as well. So that's basically it. We are a private company. We're really highly acquisitive. Being private allows us to do transactions that I think a lot of listed companies probably can't do. When we did the Finland deal, I must be honest, I think part of the reason we won that was because the gold price in September was pretty bad, and a lot of guys, I think, got scared. We don't worry about those short-term aberrations in the gold market. We think the market will continue to improve, and we want to build a production base that will be fit for 300,000 ounces. So sorry, I may have rushed through that after dropping off the line, and I apologize for that. But that's basically what Pilar is. We're really excited about this year. It's going to be a great year for us and the team. It's been 3 very long, hard years, but we're just very blessed to have such great supporter base.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Jeremy, for that great presentation. So now we'll turn to the Q&A portion of the webinar. And just a reminder to everybody on the line that you can type your questions into the chat box at any point. So to kick things off, maybe just picking up on one of the things you mentioned with looking at acquisitions, ideally kind of producing assets that have scale potential. What, I guess, jurisdictions would you be interested in? What kind of criteria would you kind of keep in mind for anything you look at going forward?
Really, good question, Taylor. I mean, we're looking for either production or just about to switch on, like Finland. We're a bit nervous about taking on a story where the mill needs $30 million of modernization, or where we looked at one in Brazil actually that needed a huge pushback, for example, that just was too much for us. But I dream of the day when Mark Bristow rings us and says, I've got a 200,000 ounce high cost mine in West Africa. Would you like to have a look? I mean, that's the sort of thing we love. And every deal we do, we want to do it bigger than the one before. So we started off with, a small acquisition. We started at 50 ounces a month 3 years ago. We're doing 4,000 at the moment. We should end the year on our current base at 10,000. And if we make another acquisition, we'll be 20,000 ounces a month. So, it's all about production, buy versus build. I'm very scared to build anything in this market because of the delays and the cost of building. And I think if anyone has a chance to come up with us on our site visit in Finland in April, they get a wonderful train journey on the Arctic Railway, but they'll see, I mean, just the most amazing kit in the mill with Metso, ThyssenKrupp, you name it, Autotech, sort of stuff that, you'd find at any world-class operation today. So we'd love buying stuff that's ready to go or is already in production. And what I love about buying production is it comes with a whole everything, right? It comes with even when we bought Equinox's mine, it came with a 30-bedroom hotel. But more importantly, it comes with a whole infrastructure, an amazing team, 12 years of history and understanding of the asset. And really, we don't like to tinker too much with that management. We like to just encourage them. And my job really is to find them the funding to grow the business. Because let's be honest, we've been through 11 years of bear markets in gold, and it's been super hard to find money. And I can imagine, I would guess, I've looked at probably 100 plus projects over the last 8 years, really. Most of them never got built, right? And so there's a lot of stuff that's sitting there that I would one day will get built, but that will be 3 or 4 years away from first production.
Right. That's perfect. So we have another question here that came in. Pretty broad question here. To replace all the infrastructure today, how much is the total replacement value and even timelines for permitting and building if you were to start from scratch?
Yeah, look, it's a pretty easy answer. I mean, Finland's 400 million euros, so what's that? 600 Canadian, I think. Yamana spent 250 building Pilar, and US, I think it was. So let's say that's 350 Canadian. So you're $1 billion to replace what we have. Admittedly, some of the underground equipment we have is a little bit tight, and I do feel very keen to recover that, to replace some of that with Sandvik this year. And obviously to build anything like this would be 2 to 3 years. I just couldn't bring myself to go through that whole process. I mean, that's not our skill set. It's really just to take these big mines, look for opportunities to cut some costs, and to really scale back some of the capex. Because often big companies do tend to have big projects. They like to build things, and we try and just scale that back a little bit, because it's all there anyway. So yeah, look, it's I think $1 billion Canadian on our current share count of 250 million shares would be $4 if you were to do that comparison. But obviously, in this market, no one's going to give you that credit because, until gold's, I don't know, much higher, everyone looks glass half empty, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then I guess going forward, what's the exploration kind of program looking like there, extending mine life into the future? There was drilling completed in 2019 to 2021 that set you up nicely there. When are you going to start kind of looking at that front? Look, just to give you an idea, the Pilar assets that we have will probably be still mining there in 50 years, whoever's got that asset, but then, because the geology of the Pilar, Kaima, Maria Lazara, Sertão is it dips at 25 degrees and it runs for miles. And we know that because the Crisas mine up the road, which is Anglo Gold's mine, they've been mining there 30 years, and that's now 1 kilometre deep. We're only 250 metres deep at our deepest point in the Pilar mine, and we're literally at surface for the Sertão mine. So we tend not to drill more than 6 months ahead. We keep our costs, those costs, very tight, and the only greenfield exploration the only drilling program we have is Sertão. We're also doing some work on Alessio, but we just don't have the funds to go out and start looking for stuff that we might be producing in 5 years' time. Sertão, is super high grade, so we get value for money. We're only paying 450 reals a meter there, and
most guys, I think, in Brazil are paying 750. So we're very tight with our money. The way we really watch our pennies really closely. We have a corporate team of literally Ed, but Charles is actually going to be full-time at Pure Tungsten soon, and Tom. So we're extremely tight on corporate costs, and everything goes into the business. So, we will never fly business class, for example, even if the gold price is $3,000 an ounce. That would actually be, if I ever fly business, I know that that's bad luck, because 11 years of bear markets have trained us to do things very, very cheaply and very tightly, but to buy businesses that have long mine lives.
Right. Okay. And is that going to be I assume the same approach at Laiva as well?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because we've introduced a little bit of the way we do business in Brazil, in Finland, and Jim Jackson's come on as our general manager there. Jim's doing a phenomenal job. He's moved up from the Sertão project in Goiás with his family. They're absolutely loving Finland, and we are very tight on costs. In fact, when the electricity market really went crazy in December, we were moving guys into one small office. We shut down some of the offices. And maybe just on that point, in case you're wondering about electricity in Europe, because obviously a big mill like that needs 6,000 kilowatts a month. And I'll give you an example. We paid 44 cents in advance for December just to be on care and maintenance, that was 145,000 euros. And yet by the end of the month, the price crashed just to 1 cent. Now we're forecasting the price to be 15 cents when we restart, but I wouldn't be surprised if it actually goes back to below 10 cents, because there is a very large new nuclear reactor that's being commissioned right now in Finland that is coming on full capacity in March. That reactor took 17 years to build, just to give you an idea. And it's a big 1,600 megawatts. So yeah, we do really watch our costs very closely.
Great to see. We have a question here, kind of following up on the infrastructure question I asked you earlier here. If new mines take 2 to 3 years to build, how will the market value a mine in progress versus Pilar, who is producing the ounces in their goals?
Yeah, it's a really good question. The new mine really, I know there's a lot of mines out there that the promoters, and I'm sure they're right, are hopeful that they'll be quite low cash cost. So they will obviously get credit if you're low cost. We are higher cost, so we're not hiding from that. For our existing businesses, which is an all-in cost in Pilar of about 1,400 in Brazil, and we believe Finland will be 1,450. But for Sertão, we think the cash cost will be less than 400. So I think at the moment we don't get a lot of credit, because people go, "Oh, you're a bit high cost," but they forget that we're bringing on Sertão, which is going to be super low cost. So I think it's down. That question is down to what your cash cost is. I'll give you an example. Like obviously K92 enjoys a huge valuation premium because it is low cost. And just as a background, K92 was our first project. We were the main funder and cornerstone of that development 2015, 7 years ago. And when Brazil came up, the opportunity to buy Sertão came up in 2019. We actually swapped our K92 for Sertão because we believe Sertão is much, much higher grade than K92's Cora mine. Obviously, a lot of guys will say, well, and their market cap's what, 1.8 billion. Now, time will tell who's right, but we're very excited about Sertão. And I think at the moment, the market doesn't give us any credit for Sertão, because until you start delivering through the mill, no one actually believes you. So we understand that, that's fine. But that's the opportunity, I think, for guys coming in on the $1 round, that there is potential for a massive re-rating for our stock if Sertão delivers what we think it will. So, yeah.
Okay, great. And then a question, a question here, just wondering about the mill in Brazil. Maybe just give us an update on how that's operating and if there's any optimizations that are needed, or what's the performance looking like there.
That's a really good mill. Like it's we've had our challenges when we bought the asset from Equinox. I think even Equinox will admit that everything was a little bit tired. So we've done a massive upgrading program. We replaced a 7.3 kilometer pipeline for the tailings. We have just purchased a third Faluva pump from Germany that will arrive in about 2 weeks. We've done a major reline of the mill. We're in the middle of a tailings lift. So there are definitely, I think maybe that's the one thing we were a little bit taken aback. I think in hindsight, we had a little bit of work to do last year, but all that work's done now, and the mill's in really phenomenal condition, and it's set up exactly the same way as our Laiva mill. But it's a little bit smaller at 4,500 tons a day versus Laiva, which is 6,000. So, the depth of experience at PGDM at Pilar is phenomenal, with Ramon and Francisco running that mill. I mean, it's really, and we're actually hopefully trying to convince Francisco to move to Finland and sort of give some of that experience to our operation up there. So.
Right. Okay. And then with the, just continuing on that with the hub and spoke model, is there any challenge with managing different material from different assets, or is it pretty consistent and you're able to?
Very consistent.
Okay.
I'll be honest, our challenge is that we've always done it tough in terms of access to funding. So we generally operate pretty tight, and we really should have Kaima running right now. We just haven't, because we haven't had sufficient funding to get that going. So we've only running Pilar and Maria Lazara at the moment. So, and then our focus is Sertão, which is obviously 15 to 20 grams. And that's a very fast restart. I'm talking 3 months to basically get that in production. But Kaima's sitting there at 3 gram underground and totally unloved, and it should be producing today. But we just haven't had the money to really do that. And we've also been in an acquisitive mode with Laiva in Finland, and we're now looking for our next big deal. So we are very blessed with a lot of infrastructure and a lot of mines. One day when we get real funding, this business is going to fly. And it's been a bit frustrating, I must be honest, but let's be honest. I mean, the market's been super tough for 22, right? I think we're all happy to wave goodbye to 2022. That was a tough year for the gold industry in general. Just to have, funding, the price crashed to 16.20. The real got very strong in the middle of that. But to give you an idea, we did a shipment at 8,200 reals only 7 weeks ago, and our next shipment hopefully will be 10,000 reals an ounce. So we're starting to see the benefit of much better pricing, and it's massively leveraged to a better price, massively leveraged. But last year was, everyone had it tough, I think, in the industry.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Okay, we're getting down on questions here, so maybe just a couple quick ones to wrap up. For maybe new people, new investors to the story that are on the line here. What's the best way to stay informed and follow the Pilar story?
Oh, well, we do it's almost like a 2 weekly, every 2 weeks we do a newsletter. We're just about to relaunch the website. We're trying to keep everyone updated, because obviously we're not public. And look, just call us, and we'd love to talk to new shareholders. And I spend the whole day with our 412 investors from, not every day with every one of them, but we're very open, and we're very aggressive in terms of wanting to take on risk. We believe now's the time to take risk. And I think a lot of our competition were hiding under the bed last year, and we were doing deals like Finland when the market felt like it was about to go to $1,200 an ounce. and it didn't. So far we've been proven right, and we just want to keep doing more deals and grow the business so that one day when the gold price does turn, we'll be in a position to make, you know, really good money every month. And we're not far away from that soon. I really strongly believe that. And also use this downtime in the markets to do more deals. Because even though we've had a $240 move in gold, I think a lot of guys are still a little bit scared to come under the bed, from out under the bed in the industry, and we're not. We love to take opportunities and grab them and run with them, and the team's really up for it. And we just think now is the time to buy things and keep growing to get to 300,000 ounces.
Perfect. Okay. You know, you kind of answered the next question I was going to ask you, just if there's any kind of final thoughts or final pitch for investors, but I think you hit it on the head there, unless you have anything else to add.
Well, Taylor, I just want to thank you and everyone who's been on the call. We don't get a chance much to tell our story. You know, if we do get to 300,000 ounces, we might be one of the fastest growing guys in the industry that most people have never heard about. You know, we hope to list by middle of this year. We do get asked that a lot from our investors, and we're very focused on that. And look, but we just want to really grow the business, not be afraid to take risk, and who knows where it might take us. You might be one deal away from getting to 500,000 ounces of production, and we're keeping that share count really tight, and just want to really, have a great year this year. We're excited about 2023 and excited about the team we have in Finland and Brazil, and we just want to keep doing more of it.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Jeremy. And thank you to everybody on the line for taking the time to tune in with Red Cloud Securities and Pilar Gold. And we'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thanks you very much, Taylor. Thank you, everybody.